Right, there we go. Now I started this. Okay, did I even start recording? Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay, well, hello and welcome to whatever this is. Crazily, it is. Um, why did it full screen not apply correctly? But it is almost midnight, and I'm deciding to do this at midnight for reasons unknown. There is a reason, but there isn't. And today, I'm just gonna talk and build, of course. I'm not sure what, but I'll figure it out. So, let's talk about. I had this in my head Mario. Specifically, there's one game that I have displayed in my room that is Mario that holds a special place. It is my second favorite game of all time. Why am I not talking about my first? Who knows? That would make more sense, but I'm just not gonna do it. And, well, funnily enough, the reason it's displayed in my room is not at all because it's my second favorite game. The reason it's displayed in my room is because I had to buy the game twice because I got robbed at some point, and that was one of the games that I lost when I was robbed a long time ago. But I mean, I didn't. The game cases weren't robbed, so that one up there is my throwaway copy of the Super Mario Odyssey box art. Solely because, well, my nephews like to come over and they like to ask for a game for them to take home so they can play something new. I don't know, I guess their parents just haven't bought for them yet. And so I generally just put whatever game in that box. Because that box wasn't originally as destroyed. It was destroyed because I had given it to them previously. But now that's just the default case, you know? Anyways, that's besides. I'm trying to tell you why it's my favorite game. And if I'm just rambling, I'm not gonna get to the point. Because thinking about this, what I was gonna my first thoughts of what to say when I started this video, none of it is about why it's actually my favorite game. Because my first thought was how I want to explain how much of a fake fan I am. I am the fakest fan imaginable. Maybe I was the fakest fan imaginable. Why do I say this? Well, think of small little Pablo aged, I don't know what age, 12? What age are we in, like, middle school? I don't. Imagine a younger me during the Wii and Wii U era. And I was such a big Nintendo fan. Even then, I loved everything that was Nintendo related. It was my niche. I didn't care about PlayStation as much or Xbox. For me, it was all about the Nintendo. However, I didn't have games. Like, I like to say I can name various series that I claim to be my favorite, despite the fact I have never actually owned at any point in time that game or game series. Case in point, one of my most anticipated games for the summer is Rhythm Heaven Groove. I am so excited to be able to play that game because it is one of my favorite franchises. And I say this despite the fact that I have never once in my entire life actually played Rhythm Heaven. That's what I mean when I say I am such a fake fan. Now, okay, there's a bit of leeway for me when I say this because it's not fully true. I have played some version before, but that was that I have played about. Did I even? I'll skip the Wii example, but I've played about an hour of Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. Not even Mega Mix. Rhythm Heaven. I love how this video was supposed to be about Mario, and I'm not talking about Mario. Um, I played Rhythm Heaven Megamix on an emulator for the DS because I never actually owned the game. So the only way I played any portion of it was through a phone emulator. Not the ideal way to play. It's not. And I can say this for so many other series. I say I'm no longer a fake fan because when the Switch era began is when I can actually say I've started to play games. But to give a couple more examples, I generally would keep saying that Ocarina of Time was my favorite Legend of Zelda game. Only based on the fact that I have not played any other Legend of Zelda game ever. And I've only played about an hour on an N64 emulator on my phone. And again, that's not the ideal way to play that. Like, it's okay, it's doable, but no, no. And I usually feel like Legend of Zelda is my biggest offense. But because I say that is my favorite, despite the fact I've only played an hour. But another good example actually happens to be Pokemon. I have never played through, finished a complete Pokemon game up until the Switch era. Pokemon Sword. I have played countless times on a Game Boy Advanced emulator playing through Ruby or trying to play through earlier versions, and in none of those did I ever make it that far. I think Ruby's my favorite, but again, I never actually played that game. I got gifted. Is gifted the right word? I got given Omega Ruby, if Sorry. I got given Omega Ruby for the 3DS at some point, and I never played it. Not even I booted it up, saw their old save file, said I'm gonna restart and play through it someday. Never touched it again. I am such a fake fan. And okay, so the point I'm bringing this topic up is because I have to say that it's true for it's true for Mario as well. To a certain degree, it's true. Because given Mario, there's a tiny bit more leeway. It's not as bad, but similar to Zelda, I usually say that Mario 64 was my favorite, but I never beat that game. I never once beat it. I played through parts of the beginning on an N64 emulator, and that's it. I have some leeway because I had Mario Kart. I played through the 2D Mario games, which I feel like is fair. They're more tailored for children, and this is a children's story. And it's technically worse because for that specific instance, mentioning Mario 64, I actually continue to be a fake fan because I got the 45th year anniversary, no 30th anniversary. How many years? Who cares? I got the anniversary pack for the Switch with Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, and I still haven't finished 64. I beat Galaxy. I played through 100% of Galaxy, but not goddamn Mario 64. I don't think I'm ever gonna finish that. So I'm a fake fan. But the Wii U era is more okay because I actually had 3D World, Mario 3D World, and I actually had Mario Maker. So it wasn't as bad. I played Mario, right? Ways. So, but that still means besides Mario 3D World, well, that does count because it is a 3D Mario. But the only 3D Marios I have ever played up to that point was 3D World, which is in fact one of my favorites, and Mario Odyssey. So in some ways the comparison is not fair because it's clearly the game I actually grew up with. I grew up playing, right? But bear with me. So I don't know, let me tell you about the game. In the case that you do not know at all what Mario Odyssey is about, it is about Super Mario. You couldn't have guessed. And it starts you right in the plot, right in the initial conflict. It just instantly gets you started. The fact that you are fighting Bowser on a flying airship as he is flying away with Peach captured in hand while she and him are dressed in their wedding attire because Bowser, this time in his effort to kidnap Princess Peach, not only kidnapping her, but he is also planning on marrying her, despite her wishes, because she's being kidnapped. So that is against her wishes, I assume. I don't know. Sometimes that's debatable, but and Mario loses this fight with Bowser. He gets knocked off the airship and falls. Who knows how far? How is this man alive? We don't know, but he is. He survives this fall and lands in the. I do not remember the name of this kingdom, but the kingdom name probably doesn't matter. The point is that it's a hat kingdom because all the residents of this kingdom are hat people. Hat people that have the power to place themselves on top of the living entities and control them against their will. Is this ethical? No. But this is what they do anyways. And Mario ends up actually helping one of these hat people. I'm sure they have a name, but I don't remember right now. And that cap person happens to be named Happy. And this Happy has, I think it's a sister. Could also be a lover, but don't quote me on that. I'm gonna go with sister. That was also kidnapped by Bowser to sort of be Princess Peach's tiara for the wedding. So then they team up. Happy and Mario team up, and he somehow transfers the cap's power to transform or take over people's bodies to Mario, with his first transformation being a frog. A frog, and they use this ability. Technically, the ability is not 100% crucial to the plot. If Mario just had some really sick moves, which some people have done, he could technically have done everything without Cappy. But obviously the game is a lot more fun if you have Cappy. So, who cares? And they go on this. I don't think I remember the name of this. Their flying ship that's shaped like a hat that I'm sure has some significant name, but I do not remember what that name is. The Odyssey Machine. That's not the name. The Odyssey Machine, though. And this is off-centered. Why did I do this? I gotta tear down this little building. No. Yeah, okay. It's going on the other side. Wait, no, it's not. I messed up the symmetry. This is gonna bug me. You're becoming a one-door house. That's gonna be ugly, but we're doing it. But yeah, so they team up and use this flying hat Odyssey machine in I'm buffering because the song I'm listening to just has a random Rick and Morty reference. Anyways, and they have to collect power moons within all these kingdoms, which are the main collectible of the game, in order to power their Odyssey ship. And by powering this Odyssey ship, they can continue to explore the next or so kingdom and progressively get closer and closer to Bowser, ruining his plans for his wedding with Peach. Like one of the locations they're preparing the diamond ring, I think, and you sabotage the bunnies that for some reason the tag along antagonists for this game are the Brutals, which are bunny people. What he did to all his adoptive kids, who knows? Who knows? They're gone. He gave them up for adoption again. Said he was done with this parenthood lifestyle. Or that just hasn't happened yet. Who knows? Um, that's the basic premise, I would say. The ship lets them go to new kingdoms, like a wooden kingdom, seaside kingdom, cloud kingdom. Bad example, they don't travel to them, do they? Sorta. It's not really a kingdom. It's just a place where they fight. And the plot is whatever. The plot isn't really too important, but the Cappy mechanic is not the part I like. Technically, is when I say the Cappy mechanic, you can either think I'm talking about literally transforming into the enemies, which of course is amazing because I don't know, it opens up so many things that you can do. You can go and take over a hammer bro and start hammering, throwing hammers everywhere. That's kind of fun. You can turn into a giant fireball and swim through lava that otherwise would deal damage to you and kill you slowly. Or why am I just thinking of the Luncheon Kingdom? You can turn into a giant piece of meat in order to lure the giant bird boss to the giant bowl of soup and fight him. This makes no sense if you haven't played the game probably, but this is the truth. This is what you do. You lure the bird with a giant piece of meat. Unless somehow I'm making this up in my head, but I swear I'm not. And so, I mean, the ability, Cappy's ability itself is very novel. It's very cool. And I like it a lot. And it's used throughout the game and its game design in very cool and interesting ways. That's not what I like about the game. What I like about the game ends up having to be the movement, which happens to be one of the aspects of the game that you can really only fully enjoy if you're good at the game. Because besides Cappy being the mechanism of which you use in order to transform into these creatures, you can also use them as a step stool. Yes, you can step on this, you can step on your partner, and that is my favorite part. Okay, let me explain. So Mario chucks Cappy all the time, throw them at enemies, and the cool thing about that is that you can keep him at that distance. It's not mandatory that his use of being thrown is to land on an enemy and capture them. What you can actually do is throw out Cappy, and now that I said it, I can't think of a better way to say it other than stepping on him. But the ability of stepping on him allows you to move in so many more degrees of freedom than you normally could. And this is only one of the movement mechanics. I just think it's my favorite one, but it's only one of a lot. Another example is Mario's roll. You can make that guy roll for days and days, and he picks up speed as he rolls down cliffs. He is good at rolling. He can somersault, which, if you don't know what a somersault is, I don't even know if that's the right word I'm using, but it's like walk this way, you do a jump in the opposite direction, and then he does a cool flip in the air to immediately turn that other direction. There's running triple jumps, uh, long jumps, which are my personal favorite. I love doing a long jump. And the ability to combine all of. I completely forgot there's copper lanterns in this version. The ability to combine all of these different movement mechanics is what opens up the movement of this game to a completely different level. Like you can long jump into Cappy being there, then throw Cappy again to give yourself some momentum, then long jump or dive is the right word. Dive forward to the location of where Cappy is in order to. Or what I just say? In order to keep going and go further than you were before. And just, it's that high degree level of movement that I really enjoy. Again, this is why I'm saying it's something that you can only really appreciate if you're good at the game. Because if you're bad at the game, probably not gonna manage to do those jumps. Like you'll probably mess up trying to perform all those commands in sequence, which, it's fine. It's not something that is meant to be for everybody, but I really enjoy that movement, the ability of his movement be so open and to move so freely and perform sort of whatever you have in your mind in order to get to a certain position. You can do so many cool, fast, quick movements and reach a location that, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't have thought you could get to normally. But thanks to doing this giant sequence of moves, you can. And that's just probably what I would say is my top cool thing. Ultimately, there's a lot more, because, like, I really like the world design. Like, I'll give this as my second topic before I finish off the episode, because yes, besides that, the next thing that I really enjoy is the level design. Is would it be called level design or world design? As mentioned previously, the world of Mario Odyssey is made up of kingdoms, and you travel through various kingdoms. One where the entire genre of the kingdom is just food, which I think is very funny. And it's the one I used as an example earlier, so obviously I like it. There's one that's just a giant, massive wooden forest with what I would say, a kind of steampunk kind of aesthetic. And I really like steampunk things, so again, it's one of my favorite areas in the game. There's the Seaside Kingdom, which is by the seaside. Another one of my favorites is actually the Forbidden Kingdom, which you only get to in the later part of the game, where you proceed to lose from Bowser again, and he throws you off to a different location, and you end up in this forgotten, abandoned kingdom that's full of poison water. And I think that's really cool. The the New Donk City, the Metro Kingdom, is also really cool, and I really like that it reintroduces us to Pauline in that section. And the whole actual story sequence of New Donk City is probably the best part of the game. But then you never revisit that because it's only for that one story sequence, and then it's not as scripted for the rest of it, which is fine. But the scripted part technically was the best part of that kingdom, and it's a shame that not as many. But who cares? Overall, I really like the worlds and designing the worlds, and I think that has to be another one of the reasons that I really like that game. I enjoyed exploring all the new locations that that game has to offer. I have reached 30 minutes though, and that's sort of like should probably be going to sleep. Yeah, I should have done this as a live stream because then it gets to the point quicker. Because now I have to wait for it to publish. Okay. I still have a long way to go to finish this castle. I don't know if anybody noticed, I have done an okay amount of work off camera as well to kind of figure out the rest of the layout, like including these little pathways, these connections, this underground portion that makes it a little bit more of a castle portion than just a castle town. Some modifications to the lengths of things, like here, in order to look a little bit better. This, oh, and yeah, of course, this little part. That's coming together. I kind of like the idea of maybe adding actual NPCs and dialogue within this, make it more alive. But I don't know if I can do that in single player. We'll see. Yeah, that's all from me. Alright. I don't know. I figured I should talk about something. I probably have more to say, but 30 minutes is a good video length, so I'm sticking with 30 minutes. I'll see you soon. It's bye. Yeah.